Welcome back from the break. We're speaking to Mr. Shankar, who's a member of board of Standard Chartered PLC and CEO for the Europe, Middle East, Africa, and the Americas. Sir, welcome again on our show after the break. If you talk about Pakistan now and the challenges that Pakistan faces, what in your eyes are the challenges that Pakistan is currently going through?
When I talk to people who do business in Pakistan, what they tell me is clearly energy is an issue.
Right.
Because that energy impacts virtually everybody. Second thing is, in the short run, the fiscal deficit is an issue.
Right.
Because it's running at almost north of 6% of GDP.
Okay.
And over the last 12 months, also with the exports coming under some stress, despite the remittances holding up, the inward remittances holding up, there is some strain on the balance of payments and current accounts.
Right.
So those, to me, would be the big macro challenges that Pakistan faces.
Well, obviously, these challenges also poses opportunities at times. Since you mentioned energy, energy is definitely a very difficult issue. What, in your eyes, according to you, what do you think is the reason that we've not been able to attract a lot of investment in Pakistan towards our energy sector? Where do you think we lack? Do you have any guidelines, any advice for the policymakers?
I think first we need to have a few good case studies of successes.
Right.
So what I would say is that we need to get some case studies in terms of successful energy companies here that will probably attract investment. But again, I mean, there are some headwinds facing. If you look at foreign direct investment flows across the world, they've probably fallen off over the last 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Second, I think also a focus in terms of feedstock, maybe another way to look at it.
Right.
Pakistan does have large reserves of coal,
right,
but very little of the power generated actually comes from thermal coal.
That's right.
It's probably something worth looking at.
Right. So basically, working on the energy, we can probably play around with different energy mixes. Now, if you talk about again the international community, what do you think? I mean, does the perception of Pakistan actually pose of a bigger challenge than anything else for the economy of Pakistan internationally, the way things have been recently in the past, or what would be your comments about the image of Pakistan outside of Pakistan right now?
In some ways, I think it's positive. What's become really positive is, I mean, you have a democratically elected government,
right,
which is going to complete its term very soon, and we're headed for another round of elections.
Right.
And you have a prime minister who's been in his position longer than probably, if I have my facts straight, any other prime minister.
That's right,
in Pakistan's history.
That's right.
Which is all fantastic. Democracy is taking hold in Pakistan.
That's right.
That's a huge positive. The other thing that should excite people about Pakistan is the fact that 60% of Pakistan's population is under the age of 25.
That's right.
This can be a huge demographic dividend if we can create the jobs.
Right.
Which means that ultimately to create jobs, we need more investment, and whether that investment comes from domestic sources or foreign sources, we need to get investment in.
Right.
The challenge there, Adil, is that Pakistan's savings rate is about 14% of GDP.
That's right.
If you look empirically at countries around the world, their sustainable growth rate is roughly a quarter of the savings rate.
Right.
So that would argue that Pakistan's sustainable growth rate at that level of savings is going to be somewhere between 3.5% and 4%. But to create jobs and to fulfill the enormous potential that Pakistan has, you probably should aspire to somewhere around 6 or 7%. And that can come either by being more clinical about creating the savings from, let's say, the public sector,
right,
attracting foreign investment, and also opening up Pakistan to trade and investment flows from neighboring countries. Because if I just look at the pattern of trade of Pakistan, still roughly about somewhere between 50 to 65% of its trade is with Europe and US, and very little of it is actually with what I would call the South.
The South.
And if you look at the fastest growing corridors of trade and investment flows around the world, is actually South-South, which
right,
far exceeds the growth in the traditional North-South or North-North trade.
Okay.
So a redirection of the trade flows and investment flows would be very, very important as well from a policy perspective.
Right. And now coming to the financial sector, what is your take on Pakistan's financial sector and its performance that, regardless of the global financial recession, our banks have been able to post heavy profits? What would you say about the financial sector of Pakistan?
It's actually doing very well. Pakistan banks are very skilled, very adept at defining their customer segment and then developing products to cater to that. So I admire our competitors in Pakistan.
Right.
And we have a terrific business here, as I said earlier. It's also a banking system which is very well regulated.
Right.
State Bank of Pakistan is generally viewed globally as one of the better regulators, and they are very consistent and conservative regulators. So that's also kept the banking system in good stead.
Right. And then another phenomenon that has taken, as you could say, that's pretty much taken over the banking industry of Pakistan is mobile banking. So is Standard Chartered working on any such projects of mobile banking, given that we have a huge number of people who are now using mobile phones, and is another area that we're working on?
Absolutely. We are a leader, and we offer mobile banking in many markets, not just Pakistan, but also you got to look today at technology, not just in terms of mobile banking versus traditional banking, but also other forms like internet banking and so on.
Right.
So increasingly what consumers want is an ability to bank anytime, anywhere, and however they choose at whatever time.
Right.
So frankly, you need to be successful in consumer banking moving forward. You have to give your customers a panoply of choices, and so mobile banking is important, but don't forget the importance of internet banking as well.
Right, internet banking as well. That's right. And
roughly, I mean, just to on that point, we have about 700,000 customers in our consumer bank in Pakistan, and roughly about half of them, or even more than that, actually use internet banking.
Right.
And mobile banking combined. So.
Right. And coming back to Standard Chartered and its operations in Pakistan. So, I mean, where do you see Standard Chartered in the next 5 years' time in the Pakistani market? It's been here for forever, since I think pretty much the creation of Pakistan. But where do you see it in the next 5 years' time? Where do you think Standard Chartered will stand on the financial map of Pakistan in the next 5 years?
I would like to see Standard Chartered as a major player in Pakistan, both in consumer and in corporate banking, wholesale banking.
Right.
I would like to see Standard Chartered being described as the paragon of excellence.
Right.
I would like to see Standard Chartered Pakistan described as the bank to go to when you have a trade or investment flow from Asia, Africa, the Middle East, or anywhere in the world into Pakistan or out of Pakistan.
Right.
I would like us to become effectively the default proposition for anybody with a problem.
Well, Mr. Shankar, lastly, any comments? Any message to Pakistan, your customers, your clients?
Firstly, to Pakistan, I just want to thank you and everybody else I've met in Pakistan for the very welcoming kind of reception I've had.
Right.
I was warned before coming to Pakistan that I would be overwhelmed by the hospitality, but this is overwhelmingly overwhelming.
Okay.
It is fantastic. Second, our team here in Pakistan is doing a fantastic job.
Okay.
I would like to thank our clients because without them, we don't exist.
That's right.
And again, the government of Pakistan, the regulators, everybody else has been a great help. Without them, we couldn't have been here for almost 150 years. So we are here for good.
That's right. Thank you very much, Mr. Shankar, for joining us here at CNBC Pakistan. That was Mr. Shankar, who's the member of board, Standard Chartered Bank PLC, and CEO, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Americas. And that's all for CNBC Special. Take care and have a good day.